Yes, there were a number of things that actually I can remember. I remember my grandmother saying that this world does not owe me anything. And I remember when I was in substandard Sabi, the old Sabi, I came from a very, very poor family. And the kids that had their moms and dads being doctors and nurses had sandwiches. And that is why in my house I don't buy sandwich bread, because I never had sandwich bread. I never had just a sandwich to go to school. My mother gave me a cent to buy pudding cake. And I think that always kept me thinking, to say, how can I be the best of the best? Because I was always right at the bottom of the pit. When it came to school fees, when it came to shoes, I remember I could sing at school, but the music teacher didn't want me in front because I always had torn shoes. And I overheard her telling the other teacher to say she's always wearing racks and she can't be in front because we are going to lose. And as a young child, that actually was sitting in my subconscious when I was growing up, even at university, even at high school. I had a blazer that was given to me. And I remember someone saying, Daphne, the last time I heard of you was when we had a blazer torn in the shoulders. And for me, everything that I did was to say, how can I make things better for other people? Because as I was growing up, things were always donated to me: shoes for Christmas, clothes, food, anything. And for me to write matric, somebody gave me 80 cents, because at the time we were paying 80 cents as exam fee. And I always thought, what is it that I can do to be the best of the best, to be better, to belong somewhere? So I always felt that I didn't belong anywhere. And I think that's what inspired me to be who I am today. And I also looked at the community to say, communities, I used to go next door when they're eating meat, we didn't have it. We always had your butter bean soup. And if I go, I get a piece. And I always knew that it means, therefore, that I had to do something that is long-lasting. And I vowed when I got my firstborn that my children will never go through what I went through.
So then, you obviously landed your first job. How did you get that? And how did it help you to actually get to where you are today?
I landed my first job. I became a cashier at OK, and then I moved to CNA. Because I was bright, I was always in trouble, and that shaped me to become actually a shop steward. I was part of the negotiating team when a CNA was brought down in 1979 as a national strike. And I was part of the negotiating team, and for the first time, because I've always not belonged anywhere, I had to fight for survival. And therefore, I was always in the forefront of the wrong things in life. In class, in school, I asked the most difficult questions to teachers and everyone, and therefore, I was almost like what you call a rogue.
So when you started out, you knew nothing about mining at all. And I'm sure whichever door you knocked on stayed closed. How did you manage to get your foot in the door without any knowledge at all?
As I said, that I was always determined. You remember that I'm always been pushed down because you belong nowhere, you have no status, you're always wearing second-hand clothes, and therefore I was so used to being pushed around. And when I started, I had a business plan. I was told that it will belong in my suitcase forever, but I never stopped knocking on doors. But I also asked myself, and I said, if I were on their side as well, what is it that I would have done? I would have wanted someone to prove themselves first for me to actually give them something. And I said, let me prove myself. So I work hard, I don't sleep, I don't expect handouts. I know what you put in is what you get out. So I always wanted to do that.